All right, so some people always ask me, who do you look to as sort of role models and whatnot? And as far as like any like sort of an athlete or anything like that, I'm less interested in that than I am seeing the people that are basically quite honestly older than me that are still thriving very well, and that gives me something to aspire to. And so recently, I've been made aware of this fellow who's a Polish guy. He kind of turned his life around. He was kind of kind of standard sick fat guy at 61, and at 70 now he's by all accounts, a very accomplished athlete, very lean physique, obviously got a decent amount of muscle, and more importantly, and I think this is the most important aspect, is he has retained an excellent capacity to move well and to jump, to sprint, things like that. He's competed I think in the perhaps the Masters Pentathlon. So he's turned himself into quite an athlete. It's something that I certainly think is possible for a lot more people than most people would think it is. And some people say, well, he's on TRT or some other drugs. I think he claims not to be, which I find believable. I know a lot of people will sort of roll their eyes at that, but I know what I've been able to achieve without any drugs, and I certainly think it's within the realm of possibility. And it's just a matter of how much consistency do you want to put in? It's not even that much hard work. It's just how consistent over time are you going to be? Are you willing to put in, a moderate amount of work day in and day out, and not sort of fall into the trap that many of us fall into of sedentary time, just eating garbage and things like that. So it's just discipline over time. With regard to the guy's diet, he's not carnivore, but he certainly consumes a decent amount of animal products, fish, chicken, eggs, so forth. I think he has a little bit of vegetables and perhaps a moderate amount of carbohydrates. And again, I mean, really the commonalities between anybody that achieves a great deal of physical fitness and vigor in older age, there's a lot of commonalities. They don't tend to indulge in garbage, drinking, smoking, staying out late, eating garbage food, being sedentary. That's a recipe for early death, or certainly a poor quality of life. And so as I pointed out the other day, my goal is as a 60-year-old, to dunk a basketball, to be able to run a sub 60-second 400-meter yard dash, to still be able to deadlift 600 pounds. All those things I think are achievable for me personally. I really do. But it's going to take putting in the time and effort. And I'm happy. I enjoy doing this, and so we'll see. We'll see what happens. So this is 70. This is it's like when Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute mile. Then all of a sudden you saw a bunch of people do this. My expectation is we'll see lots of 70-year-olds, and hopefully I'll be one of them. God willing, in whatever it is, 12 and a half years, that will be very fit and very physically active and able to do these athletic things. And I think, whatever the life expectancy is, I mean, clearly, if you're performing at that level at 70, I think you've largely won. Whatever this game of life is, I think you've won a lot of things when it comes to the health side anyway. All right, guys, let me know what you think. Do you think any of you guys can achieve what this guy has achieved at that age? Or do you think that is impossible for you? And if so, why? Why do you think it's impossible for you? I don't believe it is for most people to say it's impossible, but I'd love to hear your reasons why you can't do this, and then think about what you could do to change those reasons. All right, guys, we'll talk to you soon. Take care.